And by the way, when you're telling these little stories, here's a good idea. Have a point. It makes it so much more interesting for the listener.
You want to hurt me? Go right ahead if it makes you feel any better. I'm an easy target. Yeah, you're right. I talk too much. I also listen too much. I could be a cold-hearted cynic like you. But I don't like to hurt people's feelings. Well, you think what you want about me. I'm not changing. I like me. My wife likes me. My customers like me. Because I'm the real article. What you see is what you get.
Yeah, man. So, planes, trains, and automobiles.
Planes, strange automobiles.
So, hey everybody, this is John here with Mike.
Hi.
On this Film Juice podcast, we are reviewing and just kind of talking about the movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, directed by John Hughes.
And it's a Thanksgiving themed one, which we're going to try to do a couple, at least two Thanksgiving themed films. Kind of.
Yeah.
They don't lean into it too much. But I mean, it's there. Yeah.
Yeah, and this one's a really, really great movie. I just want to say that right off the bat. And I know I want to share a few things about it, but this one does star, before I forget, this one does star Steve Martin and John Candy. Two funny comedians, and this is... and they do really well together. Like... and it follows them throughout the movie. It's set in the 80s or
it's in the 80s. I think it was released in 87. There's just a series of things that go wrong. That they're both headed to Chicago from New York, right? And Steve Martin is a marketing guy. John Candy is a shower ring guy.
Yeah, he sells shower rings.
Yeah.
Shower curtain rings. I made it a point to remember their names because John Candy's character's name is Del Griffith.
Yeah, Steve Martin's Neil.
Yes, Neil Page.
So they're trying to get to... Sorry, go ahead.
And so it's really neat how they're really they represent two different aspects of the American kind of working man, I guess, at that point in time.
Yeah, the classism, because Steve Martin's up and, he's making a lot of money. He's doing well for himself. John Candy, you don't really know. He's kind of a cryptic figure. Yeah, but he's kind of a cryptic figure. You don't know exactly how much money he's making off of these and how he's marketing these shower curtain rings to other people.
That's true. But you don't get the sense of any kind of creepiness from him.
No, nothing weird. It's just he's kind of off.
Once as you continue to get to know him, you kind of realize, and you feel like you know him because it's kind of a cool thing that happens throughout the movie. Like you do feel like John Candy's character, but as you go through the movie, you actually kind of realize how much you don't know.
Yeah, it's very gradual.
Yeah.
And you know, the whole thing isn't unraveled until the very end of the movie, but which I'm still questioning. This was my first time seeing it, so I've seen plenty of movies with John Candy, plenty of movies with Steve Martin, but I've never seen this before. I watched the copycat Due Date, which I love, but it lacks heart. And there's a lot to do in there with drugs and just a general sense of mean-spirited, just attitude towards the Zach Galifianakis. I'm going to keep comparing this to Due Date. Due Date doesn't have any type of holiday, theme, but it does revolve around an important part of Robert Downey Jr.'s his destination, and how Zach Galifianakis is kind of the John Candy character. There's something missing from Due Date that just doesn't quite measure up to Planes, Trains, and Automobile. Can we just call this PTA?
Sure, yeah, sure. Such a long title. I'm a big fan of John Hughes. I will say that. And I love just how he captures some very like American cultural imagery, kind of cultural little kind of nuances and conversation and perspectives, Yeah,
and this was like one of his first movies post the whole like teen rom-com genre.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So
kind of very different, really.
Yeah, and that's like one of the things that gained a lot of points for in terms of criticism. I feel like somebody was nominated for an Oscar for this. I don't remember who. Could be wrong. I don't know. But he directed it and he wrote it, and he was known for making these movies quickly and putting some heart into the characters. And even though Steve Martin's a jerk, you can kind of feel his frustration. Because I guess we should just start at the beginning. Steve Martin, his marketing meeting runs late. He misses his flight right to Chicago.
Mm-hmm. And you kind of see him from his office from the office building to the airport, how things are just one thing after another is going wrong.
Everything's going wrong, yeah.
And you feel that kind of rush and busyness of the holidays, and what quickly comes to my mind is when you're trying to fit in things during a holiday that just aren't going to fit. You're trying to, like, for instance, like during Christmas time, if you're going to go to the store and just buy one thing, like that
it's going to be a nightmare.
Yeah, exactly. Traffic is going to be bad. The lines are usually going to be long in store, and getting out, finding parking. And so it's kind of like that kind of craziness going on between the office and the airport. And so, yeah, you feel, like you said earlier, you do feel Steve Martin's, he wants to get home to his family, he
just wants to get home. That's like the main point of the movie is him getting home, and then John Candy being kind of like at once this obstacle and then also this I kind of changes Steve Martin. Like, Steve Martin isn't just frustrated. I think overall he's just kind of a jerk.
He is too. Yeah, that's definitely part of it. He doesn't see John Candy's character Del Griffith as really worth his time.
Yeah, like he flat out tells him that on the plane or was it the train, where he's trying to talk to him and he's like, "Look, I'm not really much of a conversationalist. I just kind of want to finish my article here in this magazine." And John Candy just continues to agitate him.
That's right. Yeah, that was on the plane. Yeah. He's like, "All right, don't let me bother you," and he's like,
he just keeps on.
Blabbermouth, and he just keeps talking.
And then the plane is grounded, right, because of the blizzard, the snowstorm.
Yeah, I think it was, what was it? It was Kansas, right?
Wichita, yeah.
Wichita, Kansas, yeah.
So they're grounded, and it's like, well, I guess we'll take the bus. Or was it the train?
It was, I want to say, so they have to stay at a hotel. I remember that.
That's right, yeah.
And all the hotels are booked, and so John Candy, Del Griffith, he's like, goes up to Steve Martin's like, "Well, I know if you can get the cab fare, I know someone who can get you a hotel for the night." And he's like, "Yeah, all right." He sees people sleeping there in the airport, and he's like,
"Yeah."
He doesn't want to be that guy, so he agrees to pay for the cab, and that's when they're like in this lowrider, not a lowrider cab, but it has like hydraulics and all kinds of nude women pasted all over the inside of the car.
Yeah.
And then so John Candy's character knew the cab driver as well, and the cab driver. So this is an interesting part. Is like the cab driver takes the long way to the hotel. Like he doesn't take the highway.
Yeah, he keeps going,
and he explains like, your friend's never been here, so I wanted to, take the scenic route. And Steve Martin's character is just like, "Oh my gosh, like what the hell? Like I just want to get some sleep. I don't want to. It's snowing and it's dark outside. I'm not gonna be able to see anything. This is ridiculous." And John Candy's character is like, "Well, he's pride of his town. That's a rare thing to find nowadays."
Yeah.
And so there is a sense of kind of adventure, like discovery of. I remember John Hughes explaining that too in an interview, that he wanted to show like the give the feel of a kind of a road trip, like a family road trip, and so Steve Martin is, he's totally not seeing it that way at all, but
no, he sees everything as a nuisance because he just wants to go straight home.
Yeah.
And so at this point, let's see, the train pulls over, or whatever you want to call it, stops, and they come out of the train, and they're like, "Yeah, you're gonna want to go down this way, and you can rent a car." And so, aren't they walking for some time?
They are. I forget where they walk up to, but yes, they walk for a good while, and because the train breaks down.
Yeah.
And they end up.
Mm-hmm. No,
They end up going. I think at that point do they end up catching the ride on the on another one of Del Griffith's friends, like on the pickup truck?
I don't think. I think that's later after the car burns.
Oh, okay.
Because I know the driver. I recognized him immediately. He's this actor named Dylan Baker. He's been in like a ton of stuff, just like here and there. And he was actually in Spider-Man 2 and 3.
Oh yes. Who did he play again?
It was Dr. Connors.
That's right. Yes, I remember now. That's
And
hilarious.
yeah. But yeah, he's like kind of like a, I don't know, looks like a meth head or something. And he makes him ride in the back. John Candy's like, he doesn't like anyone sitting up here with him. So they ride in the back. At what point did they get the car?
So yeah, there's a few. Yeah, the car is one of the. The car is one of the last things. I know that because I believe. Let me see here. Okay, so yeah, they end up getting on a bus, right? And the bus only takes them so far. And that takes them to St. Louis, so they're pretty close.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And then that's when at the St. Louis airport, Neil Page, Steve Martin's character, rents a car. And you know, Steve Martin, like, he's been trying to get away from Del Griffith this whole time, and this is like the third time he tried to part ways.
Yeah, he just can't. He just can't. They're stuck.
And you know, there's some really good moments. So before I forget to say as well, like, there's some really good kind of conflict moments between the two. And
yeah, I think there's a point where John Candy, or I guess, what's his name?
Del Griffith.
Del. He tells Neil, like, you know, you're self-centered, you're kind of jerk. Like, he actually does tell him off. But Steve Martin has, like, a bleeding heart. He's just not really aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't embrace the kindness within him. Like, he's a good guy, but he just he wants to get home. You know, he wants to go to his family. He wants to have Thanksgiving. And this guy is kind of like an obstacle. And I think Del was just kind of maybe purposely. They don't indicate this in the movie. This is just me speculating. Was he purposely prolonging his time with him because he had no one else?
This is a spoiler right here.
Yeah, spoilers.
If you haven't seen the movie, this is like it is a well-known movie, but I think this is one of the movies that kind of goes under the radar.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Del's character has been prolonging his kind of stay with Neil, and
like he doesn't.
He doesn't.
He's doing
everything.
Yeah, he does everything he can to be with him.
Yeah.
He even spoons him.
Yeah, that's good.
Where he's like, "What are you doing?" Steve Martin's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, I just have my hands under this pillow, under these pillows. And he's like, those aren't pillows.
And they both freak out. And,
Yeah.
and so, what's revealed soon after this, so the car ends up catching on fire, and
Oh, that's great.
they end up driving the wrong way on the highway, and they almost get killed by two huge 18-wheelers. And this is all hilarious too, by the way.
Oh, it is. It sounds terrible, but yeah, there's a couple in another car in the oncoming traffic, and they're like, "Yeah, you're in the wrong lane. You gotta turn around." And doesn't Steve Martin start like telling him off?
He's like, he tells Dell like, hey, they're saying we're going the wrong way, and Dell's like, wow, how would they know where we're going? Neil's like, yeah, how would they know? And he turns and looks at him again. He's like, you're going the wrong way. And then he finally realized, or he's like, okay, thank you, bye bye, and he rolls up the window.
And then suddenly, yeah, two big riggers are coming at them, and yeah, they pretty much get fucked up.
Yeah, and so they end up at a hotel together, another hotel, and the cars, even though it's been burnt down,
It's still running.
it's still running. And so Neil is able to barely, he gives his watch and some cash he has
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
to the room, and because their wallets, credit cards have been burned up, and then Dell, he's gonna sleep outside in the burnt car, and the snow.
He had $2 and a Casio watch.
And so that didn't get him a room. So Neil sees him and invites him inside the hotel, and
They get drunk.
they get drunk together, and
Yeah.
this whole time too, it's interesting. Like, Dell has been able to stick around with Neil because he's been helping him.
Yeah.
He's the one who's actually been helping getting him even though it's been turning out pretty crap.
Yeah, everything just turns backwards on them. Like, he's like, I know a guy that can get us a room. I know a guy that can get us a ride. I know, and then it all just ends up ass backwards. But
And Neil hasn't really he's been trying to avoid any conversation with Dell, and he hasn't really even gotten to know really anything about him, and except that he has a wife and he sells shower curtains.
yeah, curtain rings.
Oh yeah, curtain rings, shower curtains.
Just the rings.
And so they're in the hotel getting drunk, and there's a point where Neil looks at Dell and he's like, well, you know what? At the very least, the very minimum, you have a wife that loves you very much, and
Oh yeah.
you just see Dell's face, like, just look at him, and Neil's like, you love her very much too, don't you? And Dell he says, you know what, love isn't a big enough word to describe how I feel about her.
Yeah. Which is a really great line.
Yeah. And then and then that's kind of the end of the conversation there, and
I mean, in the morning, this is towards the end, right?
yeah.
Where they go to the train station. They're kind of, or is the bus?
Is it the train?
I think it's a train because Neil rides it back because he saw that Dell didn't leave with him.
Yes, that's right.
And so he goes up to Dell and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing? Where are you headed?" And Dell's like, "I don't have anywhere to go. You know, my wife died 8 years ago." And that's where Dell kind of realizes, like, this guy just needed somebody to be there.
Neil realizes.
Neil does, yeah. Sorry. Damn it.
Right. He realizes that Dell. I mean, Dell was helping him out, and he's kind of this kind of stray, this kind of drifter and wanderer.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
There was some conversation actually that Neil had, a flashback of conversation as he was taking the train home. It was like what is it called? It's not a subway, but it's on top.
Oh, I forget what those are called. But yeah, I know what
they have them there in Chicago.
Yeah.
All of them. That's their public transportation. And anyway, so he's having a flashback of a conversation with Dell, and he remembers that Dell said, you know, he hadn't been home in years. And so, yeah, you kind of get the sense that he's just kind of this wanderer salesman, you know.
Yeah.
And so Neil goes ahead and they end up going to Neil's house together. And he introduces him to his family. And
yeah, and his wife is like, "Hi, Dell."
Yeah.
And it just kind of ends there. Like, I don't know what the implication is. Like, is he just going to have dinner there and then be homeless? Or are they going to let him stay there? Because I wouldn't want that train wreck in my house.
Yeah. That's funny. That's true. It's a very...
It's more nuanced than it comes off as the first time you see it.
How so?
I feel like there's like... I felt like as I was watching it, I was like, there's way more to Dell's story than what he's saying. Like, they're not saying enough about him.
Mm.
And meanwhile, you know everything about Neil. Like, he's talking to his family, he's on the phone with his wife, you see his kids, you see, you know, I don't know, other relatives that are there. And Dell, he's just like, yeah, I'm going to see my wife. But there's no proof of that. So, I don't know, it just felt kind of like I kind of saw it coming. Again, this was my first time seeing it, so I kind of saw that coming where, like, either his wife was dead or she left him, because they just would not say, or he wouldn't say anything more about his life other than, I'm going to go see my wife.
So it totally surprised me, that aspect of it.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time, well, I think I'd seen parts of this movie before, but I remember the time, at least that I remember it really sticking with me, is when I saw it at a friend's place during, I think it was November, and he was having a movie night, and he put this movie on, and I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I like Steve Martin. John Candy's a funny guy too. I'll check it out, you know, I'll see. I think, I mean, I've kind of seen a little bit of this here and there, and so, but yeah, just, I mean, to me, I took it, it was totally a surprise to me, and I remember, and I was like, wow, this is a really great movie. I can't believe I never really took the time to sit through this, you know?
Yeah, me too.
And then I remember, but then I ended up kind of forgetting about it in some ways. And it wasn't until a couple of years later, I was like, you know what? I remember that movie. I was like, you know, I need to buy this movie. And so I finally bought it, and then I forgot again what happened to John, or well, like John Candy's character Dell, like his whole situation. And then as the movie went on, I remembered, but yeah, it's maybe it's because it is Thanksgiving, because it's a very good movie, but it's kind of one of those holidays you're not used to having a movie about.
Yeah, you don't get very many Thanksgiving movies, which gave us a lot of trouble this time around. I mean, I guess we could have watched Thanksgiving, where a giant turkey kills a bunch of people.
We may do that still. Who knows?
But yeah, no, it was a good movie. I mean, it was funny and it was touching, and you see Steve Martin's character Neil kind of just realize what his actions do to other people, or his lack of caring, and you kind of see him change very gradually, because the same things happen about 3 or 4 times where he abandons him, then he feels bad, he brings him back, and then something stupid happens, and then he abandons him, and then he brings him back. And John Candy is just kind of like he's like a rock. Like, he doesn't, I think he tells off Neil like once.
He does kind of, and when they're getting drunk, he really tells him,
Yeah,
he's like a hard ass, and he likes to play with his balls, and
oh yeah,
yeah, he's just like, he has a low, oh he has a low like low tolerance. He gets very easily annoyed, very easily
yeah,
upset.
yeah.
I remember there was this one line he says, he says something, Dell, he tells Neil, he's like, what do you do when your kids, what do you do when your kids don't tie their shoes or something? You just beat them with a I don't know, with a sandal or something like that. He said something like that. It was funny.
Because yeah, I mean, that is a pretty. He's he's got problems. I mean, Steve Martin. I mean, they both do, but
Yeah, I think the thing with Dell as well is he, again, he comes off as, you feel like you know the guy, and you
yeah,
feel like he's your friend. He's that kind of character. To me, he didn't come, at least throughout the movie, it wasn't anything. And then Neil, Steve Martin's character, he comes off as the guy that you would meet that would be a little polite, but not really. He wouldn't want to stick around for a conversation.
yeah. He's not. He's
And
not
so,
much of a people person.
yeah, and so when you hear it's more of a sad. To me, at least, it was. I didn't feel too worried about Dell at the end. I understood that, because one, he's still a responsible guy. He's not. It doesn't look like he's a drunk. It seems like maybe he does eat his feelings,
Yeah,
kind of thing. But he's he has friends. He's been a good friend to Steve, and so yeah, it wasn't. it'd be different. Like it would. To me, I just felt like things were going to be okay. You know, I don't know what's going to exactly happen, detail for detail.
Yeah, I didn't exactly grasp the implication of what the future held for them.
Yeah,
at the end.
At the end.
Like, is he going to stay there, or is Steve Martin just going to like shoo him away? Is he going to do something to jeopardize their family? Start
Like
a fire?
Like a cable guy situation.
Yeah.
Too. Like, you could go that route.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I kind of got like, John Candy's character was just kind of like, he was just happy to be somewhere.
Yeah.
With someone that cared about him.
And
maybe, yeah, and he was just happy to be somewhere where like somebody, you know, cared enough to invite him to dinner, and he'll probably leave after that. I don't know.
That's what I think so too. I think that's what it was trying to say. I was really trying to show out of this whole messed up situation after another.
Yeah.
At the end, like, I think it was trying to show the ideal working out in some ways. And,
yeah.
And you kind of understand that, and I think it could have used a scene maybe where he's at the table telling a joke, a story or something, and then it kind of cuts out there, you know. But
yeah,
that could have been really nice too. But yeah, you do get the sense of that things are going to be okay, you know. Like, this is a good moment, and you know, it's Thanksgiving. It's time to celebrate. There's love.
Yeah, togetherness.
Yeah.
His wife wasn't angry. Neil. His wife wasn't like mad. Like, where the hell have you been? She just kind of like shows up, and she's like, "Oh, hi, Del," and everyone's just kind of like, you know, whatever. Let's go eat some turkey or whatever.
Yeah. So there's a long pause because she's, you know, they almost introduce her like a queen in some ways. That's kind of the word I use to describe it, because she's on the stair.
Yeah, true. She's above. Yeah.
And so everyone's looking up to her, and as Neil's introducing Del to his parents, his kids, and so they look up, and she's on the staircase there, and it kind of pauses a little bit, or there's like a good 15 seconds on her almost.
Mm-hmm.
And she says hi to Del, and she hugs Neil, and you know, she's crying and just happy to see him. And yeah, you know, there's a real sense of family as well in that scene.
Mm-hmm.
You understand as well. And you know that Del, like you were saying, he's happy to be somewhere, and I think feel part of a family too.
Yeah. But then there's that end credit thing where it's a hostage situation, and Del's holding the family hostage, and he shot Steve Martin in the knees. He's like, "This is my family now."
Yeah, that's like the 2020 version. You know?
But yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I'm sure it's happened a few times. The exact story.
It's the guy taking you home, hoping you get home, and robbing you.
Yeah. Oh, marketing. Ooh, I got him. I got this guy. And we just keep screwing him over.
Right.
And guess what, Neil? I never had a wife.
This was I killed this woman. I don't know.
Thanks for giving me a chance at having a real family.
Dang, you're sick and twisted, Mike. No, but yeah, it's you could have those kind of cynical, thoughts and pessimistic thoughts towards it, but it's again.
No, I don't. I mean, I really think that I really think it was everything turned out fine, and everything was fine.
Yeah.
They're all fine now. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they got like some weird actors. Well, surprising actors. So there was Kevin Bacon.
It's like a cameo.
Yeah.
Really?
He stole a cab, right?
Yes,
Not stole a cab, but stole a cab ride.
Yeah.
There was Michael McKean, who I think was one of the cops that pulled them over, and I did not recognize him at first. There's Ben Stein, who was someone at the Kansas airport, and that's about the only ones that I personally recognize. I'm sure all these people were like Canadian comedy stars.
I didn't realize this, but Matthew Lawrence played Neil Page's son, Neil Page Jr.
Who was that? Oh, Matthew Lawrence, yeah.
Yeah.
Joey Lawrence's younger brother.
Mm-hmm. Because Matthew Lawrence was also in... Oh, he was in...
Man, he was a lot of stuff.
Yeah, a bunch of stuff back then. Brotherly
Those eyebrows. Brotherly love.
And then, what's her name? Eddie McClurg.
Uh-huh.
That's another one that was like in Ferris Bueller.
Oh, yeah.
She was the secretary at the school, and in this movie, she's the car rental agent.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, and it also had like a decent soundtrack.
It did. It did. I'm glad you brought that up. There was some really great musical cues that you just felt it.
Yeah.
Great performances from John Candy and Steve Martin. This is one of my top movies from both of them.
Yeah, I think so too. They both, I don't know, they both just kind of, I don't want to be melodramatic and say they disappeared into their roles, but they did just like a really good job.
Yeah.
Like Steve Martin just being like a complete dick. And then John Candy being just kind of naive and not like having any idea what he's doing with this guy. And I would actually say, like, yeah, he should have. Steve Martin tried to establish boundaries, and yeah, it just wasn't happening. Dell just wasn't having it. I mean, he was just in that much need of like human connection, you know?
He was. That's a good point too, man. And you kind of, I mean, I've met people like that too.
Yeah, me too.
And you know, I think everyone has some kind of moment too where either you move to a new place, you go into a new school, new class,
You
whatever.
kind of latch on to somebody.
Yeah. Or at the very least you're a little more outgoing to try and make a friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dale's character, he's just doing that the whole time almost.
Yeah, pretty much.
uh,
It had been a long time since I'd seen someone smoke so much in a movie because they don't do that anymore.
a long time since what?
I've seen someone smoke so much in a movie.
No, they don't do that anymore.
Yeah, overall, I give this a 9 out of 12.
A 9 out of 12.
Yep.
Where did the 12 come from?
It's after 11.
I'll give this a 9 out of 10.
All right.
What would that be for you? Like a 7 out
Well,
of...
that's actually higher.
Yeah, it would be higher than we... So I guess for me, it'd be like 11 out of 12.
And so for me, it would be only 13 out of 12.
You're confusing me now, Mike.
Well, I'm just glad you got out of purgatory. I don't know what you did. But and you know, I only put you there to protect you. So
Well, I think I got there because you drove me insane and
to protect you.
I hurt you and then you killed me.
Well, I didn't kill you. I just
That's what you say, Mike.
I'm just faster.
No, but this is a good one for Thanksgiving. I think it's good.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really know it's a Thanksgiving movie until about like 20 minutes in. I think 10 or 15 minutes.
Something like that. I mean, I do think he mentions going home to see his family for Thanksgiving at the beginning.
Okay.
Neil's character. But after that, yeah, it'll be brought up every so often.
Yeah, it's not like a focal point of the movie, but it is. I guess it's brought up here and there because I do remember it being brought up more than once. And Dell too brings it up. I don't know, a couple of times. But yeah, I mean, it did show some significant character change. It was funny. There was a little drama. There's a lot of character time, which I appreciated. It wasn't just hijinks, you know?
Yes.
I liked that there were times when they were just hanging out and talking. And I always look forward to that in these types of movies where it's just like a couple of stars and they're on the road or they're stuck somewhere. I'm a big fan of television bottle episodes where it's. Do you know what a bottle episode is?
No.
It's when the show needs to conserve its budget, so the entire episode takes place in like one room or one location, and it's mostly dialogue.
Okay.
But I like those because they reveal a lot about the characters, and it's focused more on that than like a larger narrative. I think that's important to have in a show. I always enjoy learning more about characters than just like perpetuating some, a plot and ditching the I don't know, the little nuances in the characters. It's a little more interesting to me to focus on those, and I like knowing the characters more than just them being in service of a bigger story. And that's how I felt this movie was. Like, yes, there's some wacky hijinks, car sets on fire, they keep missing their planes and their trains. And
it's not a full it's not the kind of comedy that's like, this is just a comedy kind of comedy.
Right, yeah, so no Animal House.
Right. And with these big comedians, I mean, I'm sure they could do that.
Oh, yeah.
All day, but they really do act, and the script, the depth of it, there's depth and a lot of relatability and
yeah,
in the characters and John Hughes does that well. He does a lot of getting just the character time, like you're saying, the conversations, the experiences, even just the way that when they go into these airports, or they're driving on the road, they're in the train, they're in the bus, the different interactions they have within these places.
Yeah.
Make you feel like you're there, and you know what they're going through. I did a lot of traveling too with my parents. We moved a lot. And so a lot of the places we moved to, we drove all our stuff in a U-Haul to like Arizona, for instance, and New Mexico, and then back here to Texas. And so, hours and hours on the road. And yeah, there's a part of that where you meet people, you stop at places, gift shops and,
yeah.
And yeah, you kind of people watch a little bit when you're out there. You talk about things when you're out there, and you have a bunch of time just as you're traveling to kill, and so yeah, it just kind of in the back of my mind, I think about that too.
Yeah, it's a very relatable movie. I mean, there's an awful lot of cursing in it, but it's hilarious.
That's true. You know what? It is rated R.
It is rated R. I was like, once I saw it, I was like, oh wow, this must be rated R at this point.
And it's there, if you're watching it with the kids or something, it's a good movie to watch with the family. But the biggest one with with the swear words and cussing and stuff and profanity is when Steve Martin, towards the end, where his car rental isn't
Yeah.
there, and he goes up to
Oh yeah, and he curses at the guy.
at the girl.
Oh, the lady. Yeah.
Yeah. Eddie McClurg's character, and he just is just saying the F bomb, like, and F for everything.
It's like 15 times.
Yes.
Um,
In like 2 minutes there. So, but yeah, other than that, I mean, and then there's the nude photos.
yeah.
You can kind of see a couple of them in a couple of scenes in the cab, but other than that, it's kind of dark, so you don't see too much.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's generally pretty hilarious, and
Yeah.
I would say it's a good movie for the holidays. Like, if you watch it with some other adults.
Yeah, or even like teens, late,
Yeah.
mid to late teens, I think is be fine as well. And yeah, really, really good one. Anything else you wanted to share about this one?
What a horrible movie. No, I really enjoyed it because this was the first time I saw it, and yeah, I was really happy with it. I haven't seen either a Steve Martin or John Candy movie in years, so no, I think
It inspired me to watch some more John Candy movies.
I was thinking about that too.
You definitely got to check out Cool Runnings.
Oh yeah.
That one's definitely worth a watch. And one I haven't seen for a long time. I know we were talking about Uncle Buck.
Great Outdoors.
Great Outdoors, yeah.
Have you ever seen Nothing But Trouble?
I have not.
It's very weird. It's very weird. It's a Dan Aykroyd movie he wrote, and I don't know for sure. I believe he directed it, but it may be something we might want to talk about later.
Okay.
It's very odd. Like, John Candy plays like 2 characters, I think. Dan Aykroyd plays like 3 or 4. Chevy Chase is in it. Demi Moore is in it.
Wow.
Yeah, there's some other actors. It bombed pretty bad, but it's a very strange film. So I understand why it didn't do well. But yeah, that's an odd movie. I think it was like 94, 95 maybe. Well, when did he die? 94?
He died. It was near that time, for sure. 94, yeah.
Okay, so it was like, yeah, it had to have been like 93. It's a very bizarre movie that I can't even. It feels like a fever dream trying to think about it. Because I can't even think of a way to explain it to you.
Yeah. There's he's been in
he's been in so much stuff.
so many things, yeah.
And he's Canadian too, like Dan Aykroyd and Rick Moranis.
I didn't know he was Canadian until today.
Yeah, he was on. They're like, and it was like a local TV station called Second City, and Second City is also, I guess, it branched off into an improv group. here in I think it was in Chicago. I don't know for sure. I don't know. I'm talking out of my ass, but yeah, like that's how they all started making, big time movies and stuff and getting known.
Yeah,
yeah. It's kind of interesting because it's still around. It's one of the few improv groups that still exists.
wow. Yeah, it's a different kind of, or it's a unique art.
Yeah, people don't look at it the same way that they used to. But it is, one of those things you go through as like a rite of passage if you want to be a comedy actor or
Yeah, that's what I've heard from a lot of comedians going through, or at least stand up.
a stand-up or like just like a general just like a general like even like a background actor, like just like an extra that has a couple of funny lines and then they disappear from the movie or the show. But yeah, he was pretty well known, I guess. But yeah, overall, I'd say pretty good movie. Maybe not a family movie.
Yeah, you'd have to kind of figure that one out for your.
Yeah, you gotta.
You
can edit it yourself, maybe.
What
do you think?
Yeah, same here. I mean, I may just like fast forward it if my kids would sit down. I might fast forward some of those parts, but if they were really small. But yeah, I think if they're like in their mid-teens, mid-early teens, I'd be fine with that personally. But
yeah, I mean, you watch it and you think like, oh, this isn't that bad. And because I had a weird feeling about it, I was like, this might be like a rated R movie. Because in the 80s, like even like Coming to America, which seems like such an innocent movie, there's a lot of R-rated stuff in there.
There is.
The first thing being, your royal penis is now clean, Your Highness.
Right. All the topless slave girls.
Yeah, she just pops out of the water. And I grew up on that movie. Like, of course, they covered my eyes. But it's like, yeah, I already saw a second of it,
And if you saw it on TV, those parts aren't in there, too.
Oh, yeah.
Which, that was a regular one on TV.
But, I mean, it seems so... Those movies are so... I don't say strange, but, like, they go from, like, rated PG to rated R in, like, half a second.
Yeah. Those do.
Like... No, go ahead.
Drastic. This one is not that drastic, by the way.
I don't think it's that bad. I think it's that one scene with Steve Martin.
Yeah.
And Coming to America, like... But yeah, this, I think, it's pretty tame for...
Very...
you just mute it.
Yeah, exactly. You can do that, too. And that's Steve Martin.
Yeah, he says fuck like 15 times.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can feel his anger. Like, I would have been angry too. Yeah. Like, why isn't that car here?
Same. I felt that too.
But yeah, I would say this is a good Thanksgiving movie, I guess.
Definitely. And if you're into the whole nostalgic thing of the '80s as well, this is a great film to.
Yeah,
It'll definitely take you back and give you a taste of that too.
yeah. It has two great comedic actors of the '80s.
Mm-hmm.
Give it a shot. Don't hate just because it's old.
Yes, I have my sister-in-law, and she may come on here too. She wouldn't mind me saying this either, but she doesn't like old movies. Like she literally just
Like
lets us know.
what kind of old?
Like even '80s is old to her, you know.
Oh my God, how old is she?
'90s is old. She's 23, 22, 23.
Oh,
But me and Abby have been introducing her to movies, and we introduced her to this one, and she really did enjoy it.
did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's cool. So you see, there's hope.
Right. Let us know if you've seen the movie before, or if you recommend any Thanksgiving movies. Let us know.
Yeah, if you know of any Thanksgiving movies at all before Thanksgiving, please tell us. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, do whatever the hell you want. Suggest things.
Yeah, we want to hear from you all. We want to hear.
Yeah, we really do want to hear from some people, and we'll be back soon.
Yes, we'll see you next time.
You can't get rid of us.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Adios.
I'm gonna say hi, and then I'll be on my way, all right?
Just come on.
Hiya, kiddo.